Hello and welcome to This Week in Agriculture, a presentation of the Communications Unit, Ministry of Agriculture. I'm your producer and host, Christopher Holder. On this week's presentation, we bring you highlights of Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa's trip to the Pomeroon, where he visited a number of communities there and learned firsthand some of the challenges that farmers there have been facing. They've been clamoring for help for a number of years. They've been having lots and lots of promises and, of course, much disappointment. So while there, the minister made a number of on-the-spot decisions instructing the NDIA to take a number of steps to relieve the problems being faced by the residents of the Pomeroon. Basically having to do with drainage and irrigation. There was this concept of block drainage, which the minister acted upon immediately, and we'll be hearing about some of the major interventions made during that trip to the Pomeroon recently. Not only was the block drainage suggestion taken on board and acted upon, the minister has also announced that a pontoon along with 2 excavators will be assigned to that area. It will be acquired from the monies allocated in the 2021 budget. So after a long time, they will have their own piece of equipment there to handle the drainage and irrigation needs in the channels that they depend on. All right. This Week in Agriculture is produced for television by Matrix Video Productions and Advertising based in East Berbice. We will be back after these messages. It is a given that in addition to any exposed part of your body, the clothing worn during pesticide application will be contaminated with whatever chemicals you are using. All pesticides are dangerous to human health, even those persons exposed indirectly. Always wash clothing used in chemical application separately. A message from the Pesticides and Toxic Chemicals Control Board, Ministry of Agriculture. It is vitally important for a rice farmer to guard against an invasion of the dreaded weed commonly referred to as red rice, red or jaranga. If allowed to grow unchecked in your rice field, can result in significant losses, both in terms of quality and quantity of paddy harvested. Control of red rice can be achieved using an integrated approach of using clean seeds, effective water management, that is, growing the young rice plants under flooded conditions, roguing or uprooting the weed by hand, among others. If red rice in the field is still a problem before heading takes place, then the weedicide glyphosate can be applied selectively. This is done using an ordinary cotton rope dipped in a bucket containing the glyphosate mixture. After being saturated with the weedicide and squeezed to ensure no dripping occurs, the rope is then dragged across the tops of the red rice to ensure the wetting of its leaves. Extreme care should be taken to ensure that the rope does not touch the rice plants. This method has been found to be very effective as a last resort to eradicate red rice from your rice field. A message from the Rice Research Station, Guyana Rice Development Board, Ministry of Agriculture. The Guyana Livestock Development Authority (GLDA) is reminding the general public that its range of services can be accessed from all 10 administrative regions of Guyana. These services include regulatory services such as the issuance of permits for the import-export of live animals, meat, veterinary drugs, hatching eggs, etc., and the granting of licenses for the trade in animals and animal products. These regulatory services also include quarantine for live animals, inspection at ports of entry, and livestock product facilities. In addition, GLDA provides services in the area of artificial insemination in cattle, small ruminants, and swine. livestock management, pasture development, beekeeping. The GLDA Veterinary Laboratory offers diagnostic services including testing for internal parasites, screening of blood and other tissues for the presence of diseases such as avian influenza, infectious bronchitis, Newcastle disease in poultry, and brucellosis, rabies, etc. in other animals. To access these services, contact the GLDA veterinarian or extension officers in your region or the head office on 220-6556 or 220-6557. A message from the GLDA Ministry of Agriculture. The Hydromet Service Ministry of Agriculture is reminding owners of wells across the country that it is a legislative requirement to have their wells registered with the service, be it for domestic or commercial use. The Hydromet Service notes that despite its urgings over the past years for persons to voluntarily register their wells using the online application forms, there is still an estimated 600 wells unregistered. Getting your well registered is just a few clicks away. Visit the Hydromet website at hydromet.gov.gy and click on the Well Registration tab. Fill out the registration form there and then click the Send button. It's that simple. Be reminded that before undertaking the establishment of a new well, a license to do so must first be sought from the Hydromet Department as well as the Environmental Protection Agency. The process for so doing is explained on the department's website. Click on the link for well registration and follow the directions. A message from the Hydromet Service, Ministry of Agriculture. The National Agricultural Research and Extension Institute offers specialized services to Guyana's crop farmers. We conduct research and provide extension and quarantine services to ensure Guyana's food and nutrition security, sustainable agricultural development, and income generation for our farmers. We assist farmers to adapt climate-smart technologies, and at a subsidized cost, farmers could now purchase shade plastic, shade mesh, and irrigation sprinklers to avoid crop loss from the effects of climate change. Our organic soil enhancers are inexpensive and a viable alternative to imported brands. Farm certification, import and export permits for agricultural commodities, soil testing, pest and disease management, among other services, are provided free of cost. Farmers can access quality planting citrus material at our 9 plant nursery locations. We are working with Hope Estate and other stakeholders to resuscitate the coconut industry. For more information, visit our website or call us on telephone number 220-2841, 220-5730. The Pomeroon is noted for its coconuts, its cashew, plantains, and bananas. Farmers here are known for their hard work and dedication to farming the soil and producing in abundance. But in recent years, their toil has been at great cost due to the neglect of drainage and irrigation infrastructure in the entire Pomeroon, a reality that has also been the case in other parts of coastal Guyana. Many promises were made to the farmers and residents of this riverine community, promises that flooding and other issues would be addressed. But over the past few years, things slowly got worse. Production in the area was on decline. Farmers were at breaking point. They needed urgent relief or would be forced to give up their livelihoods. These were the stories of real struggles suffered by farmers of the Pomeroon and related to Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa. During his outreach to the community recently, the minister was accompanied on his visit to the community by heads and other senior officials of the Ministry of Agriculture, the regional chairman of Region 2, as well as other regional officials. His first stop was at Jacklow, Pomeroon, where he learned not only of the problems being faced by the farmers there, but what they felt would be solutions to those problems.
I'm asking for a block drainage in my community. Ever since we did not get any block drainage to assist the farmers, so I'm pleading and asking. Some persons who were able to do wrongs around their land were affected by the flood because the water did not come out from their land. The CDC has helped other communities except my community, which we did not get any flood relief things. There are 45 households in my community. So I'm asking, I'm a counselor for the area. There is nobody here with me from my community. So I'm asking, please.
I'm also a counselor attached to Avon Street. First of all, my concern is about lock drainage. We have already applied. I think Minister Zulfikar told me the last time that he has my application in his hands. Up to now, we haven't heard from you, Minister. We are waiting very patiently because we know you're a very busy man. But still within, as a representative, people will normally come up to you and ask you what is really happening. When are we going to get this? When are we going to get that, right? So we need to hear from you so we can shed light to our people who we represent. Today, I'm very honored to be here with you, Minister, and all the other persons who are here today. So that is my greatest concern, and also concerned with flooding. We have received a little hamper from CDC to do cleaning. But Honorable Minister, that I don't think that was all for us because we, due to the COVID, many of our husbands cannot go back to the interior to work because some of them have to be tested. They would give them their 2 weeks and all sorts of things. So preventing that, they will have to stay here. So when we go to the farm, we getting nothing. They can't go. Right now, my husband at home, he almost broke his foot. So there is nothing there where we can have a little resource. So if we get a little food hamper or something like this, it will still help our people at some stage or the other.
Now, I was listening to Sir Dan Cham and others. Now, they are saying that our minister, we never had an agriculture minister here present, right? That's true, but we have representatives in Jacklow, and we never see none of them at our landing to find out what happened, what is our problem at our farm. So much less our minister who is so far from us, right? So this is what we want in Jacklow. We want our good representative that they could come and represent us, hear our concern, and carry it out to the big ones. This is what we want in Jacklow. So this is my concern this morning. And we also need the dams built for us. Because time after time, tide after tide, the spring tide coming, the dams are running. So this is what I want to ask for, to assist us in building the dams, the front dams, and to every farmer of Jacklow. So this is my concern this morning.
Recently appointed regional chairperson of Region 2, Ms. Vilma da Silva, herself a farmer, in responding to the concerns expressed, disclosed that there was a regional office where issues can be reported and relief sought.
There is the office in Charity, the NDC office. All concerns can be aired there. And as the RDC, we have a representative. Myself or another councillor would be there every single Monday to listen and to engage with residents because, the river transportation is costly and sometimes you have to get boat and engine to go to every person's home. So for that reason, and you know where your representative live too, just engage with them.
In addressing the audience, Director General of the Ministry of Agriculture, Mr. Madan Lal Ramjag, said the problems as related by the residents of Jacklow were similar to what has been happening in other parts of the country, and that the Agriculture Ministry has been responding as is required in each instance, and the same will be the case in the Pomeroon.
As what the chairperson said earlier, this is not a one particular situation of flooding in our country. And so we are dealing through the ministry, through the stewardship of the minister, with several areas that have been flooded and that are affecting productivity in our country. Only a few days ago, we were in Windsor Forest on the west coast of Demerara. Last night, we got information of Bushy Park. That's another area on the west coast, East Bank Essequibo, that has been severely affected because of the drainage irrigation. Recently, we were on the East Coast, the Unity, Mahaika, Maikoni area, where there's severe flooding as well, where animals animals were dying, calves, cows were dying, and intervention had to be taken, even to the extent that we had to make some adjustment to where these cows and calves are housed for, to be in a safe situation. So I understand, and we understand the plight, the issues here, and we have been going across the country. Minister has been leading his team across the country, and if you notice, the NDIA chairman, the NDIA CEO, the livestock people are here, the other crops CEO is here. So whenever we go, whenever minister go to an outreach, he takes his team with him to ensure that all the issues are addressed and that there are follow-ups to ensure that whatever decisions are made, that it is being carried through to its fullest.
In his remarks, Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa stressed that the government is committed to the realization of every single promise made to the people of Guyana in its manifesto in the run-up to the election of March 2, 2020, and that already, as it relates to commitments made in regard to agriculture, 12 of the 35 promises have been fulfilled. The minister noted that agricultural development is being pursued holistically and that the Pomeroon will not be left out. He assured that government is aware of their recent struggle due to flooding and is already on the job of providing relief.
During the campaign, we would have come to you, the resident, with a manifesto, with a number of plans, programs, and promises that we said when we get into government, we will implement. And I want to reiterate the point this morning here, that as a government, we are committed to ensure that we implement all the programs, all the promises, and all the commitments we have made in our manifesto. And I would like to say also that since we got into office, we have already in the agriculture sector, we have already addressed 12 of the 35 commitments we have made in our manifesto. And rest assured that we will ensure that we address all the commitments and we will put more plans and programs in place.
Minister Mustafa spoke to the year 2021, describing it as a year of transformation, not only for agriculture, but for every aspect of development in Guyana.
2021 will be the year when the government will launch all its transformative projects. This year, 2021, we will see a number after the budget. In another month, by next month, we'll have the budget. You will see a lot of big projects coming on stream. Already, you are seeing demand where people from overseas, where international investors are coming to Guyana. They want to invest in our country's sector, different sectors, right in the agriculture sector. We are seeing many international companies. They are expressing interest to come and invest and develop this sector. So already I have had meetings with a number of international companies to ensure that they want to come and they will create employment, they'll have investment, and at the same time we'll create wealth in our country and food security. But we will ensure as a government that the rights of our people are not compromised. So the people, the farmers in the agriculture sector, will ensure that we take their interests on board and we continue to support them.
Referring to the recent flooding and loss of livelihood by residents of Charity and in the Pomeroon, the minister said that a survey was conducted that sought to determine the extent to which farmers suffered losses and to compile a list of families and communities affected.
I know for a fact that you were affected severely with the flood. We were very concerned at the level of the government. That is why we tried to put system in place to see how we can take care of the situation. But before I address the concerns that were raised by you here just now, I would like to tell you some of the plans of the government. I would also like to inform you some of the measures we have put in place to improve lives for people in our country, and more particularly farmers in our country, to see how we can improve the condition of the farming community and put measures in place to address the problems that people face in the agriculture sector. When we came to charity, the Prime Minister and myself, that an assessment done to see the extent of the damage that the flood have caused. I think that both NARI, GLDA, the NDIA, and other agencies within the Ministry of Agriculture, they did some assessment, and we'll be looking at that to assist you, the farmers. We will continue because I want to ensure that areas like the Pomeroon, we support farmers in these areas, because many times when you have development that are taking place and you have help coming out from the government agencies, sometimes areas like these are being left out, and we heard it here this morning. So we have to ensure that we work with these areas, these remote, or if you want to call it, areas like that. So we can also give the same help, and as Minister of Agriculture, whatever the farmers receive on the coast, the same help the farmers in these areas must receive. I will ensure that happens. So when I go to Blackbush Boulder, or I go to Linden, or I go to East Coast, the same help I am giving to those areas, or the Ministry of Agriculture will be given to those areas, the same help you will receive. So we will have equal distribution of wealth across this sector, across our country. I want to assure you that this morning.
The Agriculture Minister said that the 2021 budget proposals, which will be taken to Parliament in a week or two, contains requests for funding for a number of critically needed interventions in all agriculture areas in the country, the Pomeroon included.
So, first of all, I want to tell you that we have put in our budget, and I have taken this area seriously, as I said. We have put in our DNI budget to purchase this year a pontoon with 2 excavators for the Pomeroon itself. And as long as we get that, that will remain in the Pomeroon. That will remain in the Pomeroon. So I am very optimistic that we can get that. As soon as we get that, the NDIA chairman and CEO, they will be back here, and we are looking at that so that that excavator, or those excavators with the pontoon, will remain in the Pomeroon, so that we will not have to depend on other one to come here. So we are looking at that this year. So when we were crafting our budget estimate, we look at various vulnerable areas, and we decided that we should at least put in our proposal that those pieces of equipment, so that the people in the Pomeroon can be benefited. In relation to the drainage system, I know for a fact that when we were in government prior to 2015, we did some of those block drainage. We were also giving out these black tubes to help farmers. So I will instruct NDIA to recommence that program. That program, however, cannot start until after the budget would have passed. So the NDIS from Monday will come into this area to do an assessment, but I want to assure you that we will try as far as possible to take as much requests as possible to do the black drainage, so that people can be benefited. Rather than one person, we got a number of persons. And we will build those sluices what you talk about too. So we will look at those. Those are long-term, people will benefit long-term from those kinds of work that we plan to do. So as from Monday, the NDIA here, the NDIA engineer, together with the RDC, I will ask our chair to have representative from the RDC to come with our engineer, and they will visit the area, the entire Pomeroon, not Jacklow alone, the entire Pomeroon, and they will ensure that they do a program, and we'll work with that program. You know, many of these work we normally contract these work out, give private contractors. But we'll look at it to see how many block drainage we can do across the Pomeroon, but we will do as many as possible so that you, the residents of these areas, will have relief.
Responding to requests by residents for a more involved presence by extension staff and officials of the Ministry of Agriculture, including regional officials, the Agriculture Minister promised that this will happen almost immediately.
I am trying to implement and put these systems in place so that we can have long-term benefit. I heard residents were saying just now that Pomeroon normally flooded out every time you have these kind of heavy rainfall. So we can continue to do things in the old way. If we continue to do things in its old way, people will continue to be flooded out in the Pomeroon. So we have to put new system in place. And our officers, both from all the agencies, will be more responsive to the needs of the farmers. That I have been saying all the time. I will ensure that happens. They will come to visit you on a regular basis. They will come to give you that extension services that we are talking about so that farmers can benefit from the programs of the government.
At Marlborough, further up the Pomeroon River, residents again raised the issue of dredging of the mouth of the Pomeroon River, which for over 5 years has been impassable at low tide. The Agriculture Minister assured the residents that the issue is already engaging the attention of government, as it was raised during the visit in which he accompanied the Prime Minister to Charity during the recent flooding.
The comrade, that issue raised with us both, the Prime Minister and myself, when we came to Charity, about the dredging of the Pomeroon mouth. I asked NDIA to do a cost, an estimated cost. You know what that will cost us? $8.7 billion. 8.7 billion? So we have to work over time. So between the Ministry of Public Works and the Ministry of Agriculture, that's a matter for Public Works. I will raise it with my colleague, Bishop Edgehill, that there are serious concern from residents in the Pomeroon that the Pomeroon river mouth need to be cleared.
Farmers of both Jacklow and Marlborough were assured by Minister Mustafa that they would receive tangible assistance from his ministry in the near future to help them get back on their feet on the various farms. The National Agricultural Research and Extension Institute offers specialized services to Guyana's crop farmers. We conduct research and provide extension and quarantine services to ensure Guyana's food and nutrition security, sustainable agricultural development, and income generation for our farmers. We assist farmers to adapt climate-smart technologies, and at a subsidized cost, farmers could now purchase shade plastic, shade mesh, and irrigation sprinklers to avoid crop loss from the effects of climate change. Our organic soil enhancers are inexpensive and a viable alternative to imported brands. Farm certification, import and export permits for agricultural commodities, soil testing, pest and disease management, among other services, are provided free of cost. Farmers can access quality planting citrus material at our 9 plant nursery locations. We are working with Hope Estate and other stakeholders to resuscitate the coconut industry. For more information, visit our website or call us on telephone number 220-2841, 220-5730. The Ministry of Agriculture is warning members of the public that it is illegal to dump garbage of any kind near to or into drainage and irrigation waterways across the country. The NDIA, the agency tasked with the maintenance of drainage and irrigation in Guyana, has noted that there is an alarming increase in the incidence of garbage getting into DNI waterways and causing blockages in the first instance. But worse than that, the garbage that includes clothing, rotting carcasses, pieces of wood and metal gets past protected protective grills of the critical mobile and fixed pumps, resulting in damage to the pumps, which have to be taken out of service for repairs, placing communities at risk, especially during the rainy season. The Ministry of Agriculture notes that when this happens, millions have to be spent on repairs to the pumps and on clearing the canals of debris thrown there by irresponsible citizens. The ministry warns that rangers of the NDIA will be on the lookout for those engaging in this illegal practice. Persons caught will be made to face the full force of the law. A message from the NDIA Ministry of Agriculture. Well, that's all the time we have in this week's edition of This Week in Agriculture, a presentation of the Communications Unit, Ministry of Agriculture. I'm your producer and host, Christopher Holder. Until next time then, be good to yourselves and to each other.